All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 40 Years, 40 Moments of Coker Men's Soccer. I am joined today by Rik Alemo, class of 92, calling in from Sweden. Rik, it's a pleasure
Yeah,
to have you on here with me this afternoon.
it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's great to it's great to look back and connect with all these alums from over the decades and all over the world, really. We'll go ahead and get into kind of your story, like I mentioned, class of 92. Why
hmm
why did you, being from Sweden, why did you choose Coker?
Yeah, there's a good question, but no, seriously, actually, it goes back when I was an exchange student up in Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places, where I had a fantastic year and played a lot of soccer. But returned back to Sweden after that. But finishing high school here, I felt like I really wanted to go back to the States, and I actually sent out 50 applications to different colleges and universities, and some replied, some required that I would have to walk on and all that stuff. But Coach Griggs called me up, and yeah, he introduced the college to me, and he was very excited about everything, and he got me excited about college and Coker, and I would say it's all thanks to Coach Griggs that I ended up at Coker College.
I'm sure you and a lot of other alums would have that same response to that
Yeah,
question.
yeah, it's written
Absolutely.
down here.
Absolutely. So, kind of moving on down the list here, what would you say in your years at Coker? What would you say your favorite on-field memory is?
Um, well, there is one moment that really sticks out, and it's my sophomore year. We had an okay season. It wasn't great, but if it was the last game, we played Lander, who was ranked, and he was basically just trying to expected to hold the numbers down. But as it turned out, we played the game of our season, and we had some guys score some terrific goals, and we beat them 2-0, and it was uh, it was fantastic, and yeah, that's a great memory.
So then, kind of obviously, it's more than what goes on the field. What would you say your favorite off the field memory is? I'm
That would
sure I'm
be
sure that I'm
anything.
sure that list is a mile long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, of course, every now and then I tell stories to people around me here, but one story that keeps coming back is, um, and this has nothing to do with soccer, I guess, other than they were soccer players, but we actually went skiing up in the Appalachians, me and three other guys, Andrew Myers, Pat Brooks, and Dave O'Kane, and those three were known to be guys who would cause a little bit of trouble or they would get into trouble. So obviously, I knew I was getting into something, but we headed up there. I don't know where in North Carolina, somewhere I think, and we were skiing, and of course, we had to go skiing. Off the grid, closed off slopes, and all of a sudden we had people chasing us down the slopes. And when we finally got to the bottom of the slope, the police were waiting for us. And we ended up in a holding cell, I would say, at the police station, where we had to wait for the owner of the ski resort, who was considering to sue us. And yeah, I was a little bit shaky, of course, and always thinking of what that would mean if I had to go back to Sweden. But we had a good conversation. Those other guys were talkers; they could talk their way out of everything, and it ended up that he would ask us for help and recommendations how he could close off slopes and make people follow the message. And before we left the police station, we had free passes for night skiing, and so it all turned out well. But that's my one in jail experience, spending 4 years in the U.S. But it was great, and as I said, not unexpected going with that bunch, but they were great guys, and they always had something up their sleeve for sure. So, but a good
I,
memory and a fun story to tell when.
I bet it
Yeah,
is. It's funny you mentioned Pat Brooks because I have had some conversations with Pat
yeah, yeah,
over this kind of, over this kind of same thing, and it's that's funny. That's
yeah.
really funny.
They would be the guys who would throw water balloons from top floor grannies and all that kind of stuff on people. So and there are stories. I know some of them had to wash police cars for a while. I don't want to get into why, but maybe that shouldn't be posted. I don't know.
Ah, but so going off of all that, looking over back of now 40 years of Coker men's soccer, what do you think makes Coker men's soccer as a program and as a brotherhood, as a family, what do you think makes it special?
Well, I think it's a close knit program. You get very close to your coaches and all the other players, and we had players coming in from everywhere as it is, and we were all very tight, I would say, and everyone looking after each other, and yeah. When that would, as most people say from my days and before, we owe a lot to Coach Griggs bringing us in, and he was kind of the factor who kept us all together. And but it was just great, and it was a small school as well. Coker smaller back then, of course, and that also made everybody knew everybody, and kind of the soccer team. You stuck together, most everyone, and yeah. It was great, and upper and lower classmen, we all interacted and hung out on the field and off the field. So yeah,
Well, that's great to hear, Rick. I'm glad you're doing well, and I really appreciate you taking the time today.
yeah. This is my pleasure. I'm really glad that you would have me and
You
having
you
me.
came you came recommended by Evan Vaughn over an alumni engagement.
All right.
You
Well,
came
I
you
hope
came you came recommended by Evan to reach out for this project. So
great.
no,
I hope.
it's been a pleasure to get to talk to you, and you know maybe at some point you'll make it back over for homecoming or
Well, that's my goal every year, but of course, it's a longer trip. It costs a little bit of money. It takes
oh,
some time,
absolutely.
but I plan on it every year. I plan on it, but every year I pretty much cancel towards the end. But I plan on coming this year, so we'll
Well,
see.
that's good
But
to hear, Rick. Thank you for your
yeah,
time today.
well, thank you. Great talking to you, and glad we got this thing going finally.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
All right.